Hello and welcome to A Generation Inspired, the show where we look at how the magnificent success of sport in 2012 for Britain has impacted both participation and inspired success. Coming up, we have a look at how Team GB's boxing success at the 2012 Olympics has inspired young boxers. And with golf being featured for the first time in Rio, we look at how the game's shaping up. But first, it's over to badminton, as Birmingham's National Indoor Arena played host to the All England Open Championships. Josh Moore has the story.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Yonex All England Open Badminton Championships.
Team GB have gathered here at the National Indoor Arena under a shroud of controversy to see if they can improve on their poor Olympic performance. After disappointing in London, badminton's player performance programme has been questioned, with Jenny Warwick being the latest star to leave. Imogen Bankier, the first to leave the programme, gives us her thoughts on Warwick's departure.
I think she was unhappy with the system. Certainly when I left, I expressed I didn't think the system was the best for me as an individual. I think she expressed some of the same feelings, which is a shame. I think it's really sad to lose she was a world class, one of our best Great British ladies, and a world class mixed player, and it's very sad to lose someone like that.
One of Britain's hottest prospects, Fontaine Chapman, is sad to see players leave the programme, but thinks the future is still bright for British badminton.
It's disappointing and it's a shame that we've lost, such great players, and it'd be good to have, those players that are a little bit more experienced and a little bit older, still involved in the setup, but with the support of all the coaches and the players, it shouldn't affect the team too much, and hopefully they're all focused enough to just work through it.
Senior officials at Badminton England are not too concerned over the departure of their top players.
I think when players leave the programme, it's regrettable, but they have lives to lead and they need to decide what they want to do with the rest of their lives.
However, neither Bankier nor Smith have ruled out a return for England's exiled players.
Nothing's impossible, and I think if I continue to show that I'm one of the best players that there is in GB, then they can't ignore me, if you know what I mean. So
I would hope that nobody in fact leaves and with a feeling they can never come back. But as I say, for some of our players, they've been permanent badminton players maybe for the last 10 years or so, and the break from it is perhaps inevitable on some occasions.
It was another disappointing tournament for Great Britain. However, with the British #1 pair running the world #2's close, things are looking promising for the future.
Felt, we were in with the match all the way. We were leading in both sets at some point, and I feel that they were there for the taking.
So, what does the future hold for British badminton?
I think the future looks good. I think the Rio Olympics will be a time when some of our youngsters will come of age in the sport, and we're expecting good results from them.
Rio's any badminton player's goal and objective to get there and to medal. So, it's a long time. The first 2 years is all about developing and then putting ourselves in a position where we can challenge for medals, and we feel like we're well on the way to that.
Things are looking bright for badminton, and with Rio fast approaching, Team GB will be hoping to improve their 2012 medal count.
Team GB's boxers fought their way to their best Olympic haul since 1908. With icons such as Nicola Adams, Anthony Joshua and Luke Campbell, surely their success has had a positive effect on the low levels of the sport. Ross Perkins has more.
On the banks of the River Thames in London's magnificent ExCeL Arena, where Britain's boxers plundered gold. But the question is, has the inspiration provided in the ring transferred to the lower levels of the sport? And has the legacy of boxing in the Olympic Games truly inspired a generation? This is Halifax Boxing Gym, and club owner Mick Rowe tells of the gym's growth following British success at the Olympics.
We've gone from about 300 to about 5,500 people now who visit the club, who have become members. So we've packed out every night, 30, 40 kids in a class. and probably the same amount of adults, and that's 7 days a week, so very, very busy.
Joshua Armstead is one of those newcomers, and he was victorious in his first bout last week.
Watching people like Luke Campbell, Anthony Ogogo, brilliant boxers, one day, hopefully. Been training at this boxing club now since September, so roughly about 5-6 months. A bit nervous first fight, but it went well, yeah, really well.
And it's not just the male side of the sport that has benefited. Leeds-based Nicola Adams became the first ever female Olympic champion, and that legacy is visible at Halifax Boxing Club. The club now boasts 5 carded female boxers, all wanting to follow in Adams' footsteps.
I just loved it. Nicola Adams, she's brilliant. It's got a lot of people into it as well. There's a few more people that's come to the club and stuff, and everyone just wants to do what she did. I had a fight last Friday, I won that, so been in championships as well. Yeah, it's going good.
And the influx of new boxers has inspired success at the club.
This year alone we've had 10 boxers enter championships. We've had 1 Yorkshire champion, a senior novice champion, a female semi-finalist who was a national in a national competition. So really doing very well.
One of the club's hottest prospects is 18-year-old Jack Sellers, who was invited to train with the England ID squad.
Yeah, I went down to Newcastle to get selected for boxing in Sweden, but I didn't get in. But looking forward to, there's another one in a couple of months, so I'm going to that as well, I think. Doing alright, I mean, won it's called Redditch Cup, won that, so I wanted to progress on to like Rio and stuff like that now.
Despite failing to make the grade on this occasion, Rowe is remaining positive on Sellers' future.
He's looking at the Olympics in Rio, and hopefully that's what the aim is. If we can get him there, it's going to be brilliant for him, brilliant for the club. So, being picked by the England ID squad were the first step as we look at it.
Olympic legacy, which was held in such high regard in London, may not seem as hard-hitting as Lord Sebastian Coe would have liked. However, it is in future games where we will be able to measure the success of the 2012 Home Olympics. And in boxing, the future looks bright.
And finally, I take a look at how golf's shaping up ahead of its debut in 2016. You have to go back to 1904 for the last time golf featured in the Olympics, but that didn't stop it from taking the limelight in 2012.
Cometh the moment. Cometh the man! And that putt ensures that Keimer wins by 1 hole.
Hailed as the greatest comeback ever, Team Europe's heroics capped off Britain's greatest year of sport, with a Ryder Cup win in Chicago. But golf isn't all glamorous. Young Huddersfield Union champion Aaron Schnacker combines his ambitions to be a pro with the long hours of greenkeeping.
It's quite good, because obviously you work early morning, finish about 2:30, so I can get my golf in there and practice. But whereas like raking all the bunkers and all the heavy lifting and all that takes a bit of time, like getting your golf swing back.
One of the game's top prospects is Huddersfield's Nick Marsh. Aged 18, Marsh has become the best amateur in the country. But despite being enthused by the chance to represent his country, Rio may be too soon.
As far as I'm aware, the Olympics is for professionals, so unless I turn pro sort of in that year, then it's not really an ambition for me. But definitely, if I got the opportunity to play in the Olympics, I'd love to represent Great Britain, because it'd be great fun.
With so much at stake already in the professional game, Halifax West End professional Darren Arbour believes players like Nick should be given a shot instead of the game's big hitters.
Well, golf is great because obviously you've got an amateur scene and you've got a handicap. We've got the Walker Cup that our nation's playing. There's a very big amateur base in golf, and I think it should be amateur golfers that play in the Olympics.
The women's game lacks the same depth of household names to choose from. That's something which the 2 leading Huddersfield female golfers believe the Olympics will help to drive forward.
I think it could make it more recognised out there. I think I'd like to see golf be like cycling has become. Cycling is obviously a mad obsession now for the country, and I hope golf can kind of follow in that sort of footsteps.
It's going to give the whole game a new image, especially from the ladies' side of things. I think a lot of people probably still think there's old boys playing, big boys playing and girls, and obviously it'll be taken serious as a sport.
But Arbour believes, despite the Olympic coverage, it'll never match the same heights of the men.
the men's game will always overshadow the ladies because there's more money that goes into it. But it will probably raise the profile of the ladies because most male golfers don't really watch ladies golf.
2012 may be an opportunity missed to inspire the next generation of golfers.
Oh, straight in.
But with the likes of Lee Westwood, Luke Donald, and now Rory McIlroy at world number 1, all within the same decade, the British game looks to be in good health going into Brazil and beyond. I'm afraid that's all we have time for. Join us next week on Generation Inspired, where we will take a look at athletics, cycling and rowing. Thanks for watching. Good night.